Today's episode is all about job interviews. Whether you're getting ready for your first interview or just want to sharpen your skills, we've got something really helpful for you.
We're going to listen to a realistic job interview simulation. Pay close attention to the questions, the answers, and how the candidate handles the pressure.
Before we dive into today's job interview simulation, let's take a quick moment to go over some important vocabulary. This will help you better understand the conversation and the questions that will be asked during the interview.
That's right. We'll be covering a few key terms that come up often in interviews. Understanding these words will give you a better grasp of what's being discussed. So, let's get started. All right, Mia, let's start with the first word, deadline. Can you explain what that means?
Sure. A deadline is simply the final time or date by which a task or project must be completed. It's like a due date for assignments or work, and it helps everyone stay on track.
Exactly. So, for example, if your boss gives you a deadline for finishing a report by Friday at 5 p.m., you need to make sure it's done by that time. If you miss the deadline, there could be consequences, like delays or problems with the project.
Right. It's super important in the workplace. Deadlines help keep things organized and make sure projects move forward smoothly. It's a way of making sure everyone knows when something is expected to be finished.
Exactly. So now you know that when you hear someone talk about a deadline, they're talking about the time by which something must be done.
Now, let's talk about the word strengths. Max, can you explain what that means?
Of course, strengths refer to the positive qualities or skills that someone is good at. It's the things that make you stand out or help you succeed.
Exactly. For example, if you're really good at working with numbers, you might say that your strength is analytical thinking. Or if you're a great listener, that could be a strength in communication.
Right. So, when someone asks about your strengths in an interview, they want to know what you're really good at, what skills or talents you bring to the table. It's about highlighting your best qualities.
It's important to be honest and specific when talking about your strengths. And of course, you want to back them up with examples, like how you solved a problem or completed a task successfully because of your strengths.
Exactly, Mia. So now you know that strengths are the things you're really good at, the qualities that help you succeed. Next up, let's talk about weaknesses. Can you explain what that word means?
Of course. Weaknesses are the areas where someone might struggle or not be as skilled. It's the opposite of strengths, things that you might need to improve or work on.
Exactly. For example, if you're not very good at speaking in front of large groups, you could say that public speaking is one of your weaknesses. Or if you find it hard to stay organized, that could be another example.
Right. But the important thing is to recognize your weaknesses and show that you're working to improve them. In interviews, employers usually want to know how you handle challenges. So it's good to mention your weaknesses and also explain how you're working on them.
That's a great point, Mia. It's all about showing that you're aware of your weaknesses and that you're taking steps to get better, whether that's through practice, learning new skills, or asking for help when needed.
Exactly. So weaknesses are the things we might not be great at, but they're also opportunities for growth and improvement.
Sure. Onboarding is the process of introducing a new employee to a company. It includes everything from explaining the company's policies and culture to training them on the tools and tasks they'll be working with.
Finally, let's talk about the word onboarding. Max, can you explain what that means?
Right. And onboarding helps new employees feel comfortable and prepared for their role. It's important because it helps people understand how things work in the company and sets them up for success.
Exactly. It's like getting someone ready to start their job. Usually, during onboarding, you meet your team, learn about the company's values, and get familiar with the work environment.
Exactly. So, onboarding is the process that helps you get settled into your new job and learn everything you need to know.
It also helps new hires know who to go to for questions or support. It's an important step in feeling like part of the team and making sure you can perform your job well.
Now that you're all set with the vocabulary, let's jump into the interview. Today we're simulating a job interview between a candidate, Emily, and the HR manager.
So take a seat, listen closely, and experience what a real job interview sounds like. Let's dive in.
Here's our job interview simulation.
Emily Johnson?
Yes, that's me.
Hi, Emily. I'm Mr. Carter, the HR manager. Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming in today.
Nice to meet you too, Mr. Carter. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Please, have a seat. How was your trip over here? Did you find the office okay?
Yes, it was pretty easy. The directions were clear and traffic wasn't too bad this morning.
Glad to hear that. We try to make things as smooth as possible for our candidates. Would you like some water or coffee before we begin?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
All right then. So, let's get started. Okay, can you tell me a little about yourself?
Sure. Well, I'm originally from Chicago, but I moved here about 3 years ago after graduating from college. I studied communications with a focus on digital media. During my last year, I interned at a small marketing agency, and that really sparked my interest in branding and social media strategy.
Digital media. That's a fast-moving field. What kind of work did you do during your internship?
It was a mix of things, actually. I helped manage their Instagram and Facebook accounts, created content calendars, and even wrote a few blog posts for their website. One of my favorite projects was helping launch a campaign for a local eco-friendly clothing brand. I got to be part of the creative meetings and even helped shoot some of the visuals.
That sounds like a great hands-on experience. So, what did you do after graduation?
Right after college, I got a full-time job at a startup called Brightline. They were just getting off the ground, so I wore a lot of hats. My title was Content Assistant. But in reality, I did everything from social media planning to customer support on busy days.
Startups are great for that kind of exposure. What would you say was your biggest takeaway from that job?
Honestly, I learned how to be adaptable. Things change daily. New tools, new goals, sometimes even new roles. It taught me how to prioritize and communicate clearly when everything felt urgent. I also learned how important it is to be part of a team that supports each other.
I like that. Flexibility and communication are key in our company too. And what made you decide to leave Brightline?
The company actually shifted its focus entirely. They moved from content and branding into more technical services, and my role was gradually phased out. It was a tough moment, but also a turning point for me. I realized I wanted to work somewhere where I could grow in content strategy specifically. And when I saw the opening here, it felt like a perfect match.
Thank you, Emily. That gives me a really good sense of your background and what you're looking for. So, Emily, why do you want to work here?
Well, first of all, I really like your company. I've read a lot about it, I saw your website, and I also read some news about your recent project. I think the work you do is very creative and meaningful. You help brands grow in a smart way, not just with numbers, but with good ideas.
That's great to hear. Was there anything in particular that caught your attention?
Yes. I like the campaign you did for the food delivery app, Meals Made Simple. I saw the video and the posts on social media. It felt very real and friendly. I thought, wow, I would love to be part of a team that makes things like that.
That was one of our favorite projects. So you're interested in that kind of creative work?
Yes, very much. I enjoy writing and planning content. I like to think about how people will feel when they see a post or a video. I believe your team understands how to connect with people, not just sell to them. And that's something I admire.
That's a good observation. And what about our company culture? Did you read anything about that?
Yes, actually. I saw some employee reviews and a short video on LinkedIn. It looks like people here feel comfortable and supported. That's important to me. I want to learn and grow, but also feel like I belong. I think your company gives both.
We do our best. So it sounds like you see a future here, right?
Yes, I do. I feel that I can learn a lot here and also bring my ideas. I'm still growing, but I work hard, and I really want to be part of something great.
Thank you, Emily. That's a thoughtful answer. All right, Emily. Let's talk a little about your strengths and weaknesses. Let's start with your strengths. What would you say you're good at?
I think one of my biggest strengths is that I'm organized. I like to plan my tasks, use calendars, and make sure I don't forget anything. Even in busy situations, I stay calm because I have a plan.
That's a great skill, especially in our line of work. Anything else?
Yes, I'm also a good communicator. I like working with people, listening, and sharing ideas. In my last job, my manager said I was good at giving feedback kindly and clearly. I think communication helps teams work better.
Absolutely. And now for the harder part. What's one of your weaknesses?
Yes, I would say that sometimes I take too much time on small details. I want everything to be perfect. So I spend extra time checking things again and again.
Perfectionism. That's a common one. Has that ever caused any problems?
Sometimes, yes. For example, when we had short deadlines, I had to remind myself that done is better than perfect. I'm learning to trust my first work more and to ask for feedback instead of fixing things over and over.
That's a very honest answer, and it shows you're working on it. Any other weakness you've noticed?
Maybe speaking in big meetings. I get a little nervous. I'm okay in small groups. But when there are many people, I feel shy. But I'm trying to practice. I joined a small public speaking group last year, and that's helping me.
That's great to hear. Recognizing those things and taking action shows growth. And tell me, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
That's a good question. In 5 years, I hope to be in a position where I feel confident and experienced in content strategy. Right now, I'm still learning, but I really enjoy this field. I'd like to grow step by step and become someone the team can count on for ideas and leadership.
So you're thinking of a leadership role eventually?
Yes, maybe not a big role right away, but something like a team lead or content coordinator. I want to help others, not just do the work. I enjoy guiding people, even now, when I help friends or coworkers with writing or planning.
That's a good vision. And are you thinking of staying in the same kind of company, or do you want to move to a different type of business?
I really like creative companies like this one, where there's room for new ideas. I'm not sure about the exact place, but I know I want to work somewhere where creativity and people matter. I want to feel proud of what I create and the impact it makes.
Do you have any plans for more education or training in the next few years?
Yes. Actually, I'm thinking about taking a course in UX writing or maybe digital storytelling. I want to understand more about how people interact with content online. Not just writing, but the full experience. If I stay here, I'd love to grow inside the company and maybe take advantage of any training programs you offer.
That's good to hear. We do have internal development programs. It sounds like you've thought about this seriously.
Yes, I try to be realistic. I know 5 years is a long time and things can change, but I like having a direction. I don't want to just have a job. I want to build a career that makes me feel excited every day.
Well said, Emily. Thank you for sharing that. So, Emily, why should we hire you?
Well, I think you should hire me because I'm a mix of creativity, responsibility, and motivation. I don't just want a job, I really want to contribute to the team. I care about the details, but I also understand the big picture. When I work on a project, I always ask, how does this help the company and the audience?
That's a solid mindset. Can you give me an example?
Yes. At my last job, I created a weekly post series for our Instagram account. I didn't just make nice images, I also checked the comments and messages to see what people liked or needed. After a month, we saw more engagement, and even a few new customers told us they found us through those posts.
That's real impact. And beyond skills, what do you think you bring as a person?
I'm a positive person. I like working with others, solving problems, and keeping things moving. I try to stay calm under pressure, and I don't give up easily. If something doesn't work, I ask questions, try again, or ask for help. I believe teamwork is about listening and sharing.
That's important here. We value collaboration.
Yes, and I really believe I would fit well in your team. I may not know everything yet, but I'm ready to learn, grow, and do my best from day one.
Thank you, Emily. That's a strong answer. Now, tell me about a time you faced a challenge at work.
Yes, I remember one situation very clearly. At my last job, we were working on a campaign for a local brand. Everything was going well until the client suddenly changed the deadline. They wanted everything ready 1 week earlier.
That sounds stressful.
It was. We had to finish a lot of things quickly. The designs, the social media posts, and the client presentation. At first, I felt overwhelmed. And honestly, the team was a bit confused about how to move forward.
So what did you do?
I asked my manager if I could help organize the new schedule. I made a list of what we had left, what was urgent, and what we could do later. Then I talked with my teammates, and we divided the work clearly. I also helped a colleague who was behind on writing copy for one of the posts.
That's good initiative.
Thanks. In the end, we delivered the project on time. It wasn't perfect, but the client was very happy. The team also thanked me for helping keep things calm and clear.
It sounds like you stayed focused under pressure.
Yes, I learned that challenges are easier to handle when you stay organized and communicate. That experience helped me grow a lot.
Great example. Thank you, Emily. Okay, Emily, how do you handle pressure or stressful situations?
I think stress is a part of every job, but the way we respond makes a big difference. For me, when I feel pressure, the first thing I do is stop and breathe. I try to stay calm and think clearly, even if things feel urgent.
That's a smart first step. And what do you usually do after that?
I break things into smaller steps. If I have a big task or deadline, I ask myself, what can I do right now? That helps me feel more in control. I also make a quick plan, even just a checklist, so I can see progress.
And how does that work when you're in a team, not just working alone?
In teams, I try to keep communication open. If I'm feeling stressed, I say it. Not in a negative way, but to be honest. I might say, this deadline is tight. Can we go over the priorities together? I think asking for help or clarification is better than staying quiet and getting overwhelmed.
Have you ever had a moment when the stress got too much?
Yes. Actually, last year, we had a week where 2 big projects overlapped and my teammate got sick. I had to do extra work, and I started feeling really tired. I made a small mistake in a post that went live, and I felt terrible.
How did you recover from that?
I told my manager right away, and we fixed the post quickly. But more important, I realized I needed to take short breaks and drink water, eat properly, even if I was busy. I also started using a time tracking app to stay focused. That week taught me that managing stress is not just about work, it's also about taking care of yourself.
That's a valuable lesson. It sounds like you've learned a lot from experience.
Yes. Now, I try to stay calm, stay organized, and ask for support when needed. I don't see pressure as something bad. It can actually help us grow if we handle it the right way.
Thank you, Emily. I appreciate your thoughtful answer. Now, let's talk about salary for a moment. What are your salary expectations, Emily?
Thank you for asking. I've done some research on similar roles in the city, and I understand that the average salary for this position is around $45,000 to $50,000 per year. Based on my experience and skills, I think something in that range would be fair.
That's a reasonable range. Is salary your top priority?
Not really. Of course, I want to be paid fairly, but for me, growth, learning, and being part of a good team are just as important. If there are opportunities to develop my skills and move forward in the company, that means a lot to me.
I see. And are you flexible?
Yes, I am. I'm open to discussing it more depending on the full offer, like benefits, training, and the role itself. My main goal is to find a good fit where I can do meaningful work and grow.
That's a good approach. Thank you for being honest and prepared.
Thank you. I want this to be a win-win for both of us.
And Emily, do you prefer working independently or as part of a team?
That's a good question. Honestly, I enjoy both, and I think each has its moment. When I'm doing tasks that need deep focus, like writing or editing, I like working alone. I can concentrate better and manage my time. But when it comes to big projects or solving problems, I really enjoy teamwork.
So you'd say you're comfortable with both styles?
Yes, definitely. For example, in my last job, I was often responsible for writing blog posts. That part was independent. I did research, wrote drafts, and made edits on my own. But before publishing, I always met with the designer and the marketing manager. We discussed the layout, the timing, and the message. That part was very collaborative.
And how do you feel about group decisions or brainstorming sessions?
I really like them. I believe good ideas come from listening to different people. Sometimes someone says something simple, and it gives me a new perspective. Also, I'm not afraid to speak up in meetings. I try to give helpful suggestions, but I also listen carefully. It's important to respect all voices.
What happens when there's disagreement in a group?
That happens, of course. I think the key is communication and respect. If someone disagrees with my idea, I don't take it personally. I ask, can you explain why? That way, I learn. And if I disagree with someone, I try to say it in a kind and clear way. Like, I see your point, but what if we try this instead? I think it's better to look for a solution than to win an argument.
Very well said. And when you work alone, how do you stay motivated?
I usually set small goals for myself, like finishing one section before lunch or reviewing everything by 3 p.m. I also take short breaks to stay fresh. I'm pretty self-disciplined, and I like checking things off my list. It gives me a good feeling of progress.
Sounds like you have strong work habits. One last question on this. If you had to choose only one, working alone or in a team, which would you prefer?
If I had to choose, I'd say working in a team. I love being around people, sharing ideas, and feeling like we're building something together. But I do need some quiet time during the day to think and create. So a mix is ideal, but if I had to choose just one, I'd go with teamwork.
Thank you, Emily. I appreciate your honest and thoughtful answer. All right, Emily, now tell me about a time you failed. What did you learn from it?
Yes, there's one experience that really taught me a lot. It was during my internship when I was helping plan a small online event for new customers. My job was to send out the invitation emails with the right links and times.
And what happened?
Well, I sent the email, but I made a small mistake. I copied the wrong time for the event. I didn't double check it. Some people showed up late, and a few even missed it completely. The team was surprised, and my manager had to send an apology message to the guests.
That must have felt tough.
Yes, I felt terrible. I thought I had ruined everything. I was so embarrassed. But my manager was kind. She sat down with me and said, "Everyone makes mistakes. What matters is what you do next."
That's a great way to handle it.
Exactly. So I wrote an apology to the team, and I made a checklist system for myself. So I would always review important details before sending anything. I also asked another intern to check my work when it involved public communication, just to have a second pair of eyes.
That sounds like a responsible reaction.
Thank you. Since then, I've become much more careful. I learned that even small details, like a time or a link, can make a big difference. And I also learned not to be afraid of mistakes. They can be painful, but they help you grow.
That's a powerful lesson. I really appreciate your honesty.
Thank you. I always try to turn my failures into something useful.
Before we finish, Emily, do you have any questions for us?
Yes, thank you. I have a couple. First, I'd like to know more about the team I'd be working with. How big is it, and what's the team culture like?
Great question. You'd be part of the marketing team, which has 7 members. It's a mix of designers, writers, and strategists. We value creativity, but also open communication. People here are very supportive. It's a good environment for learning and sharing ideas.
That sounds great. And what does a typical day in this role look like?
You'd usually start the day with a short team check-in. Then you'd work on your tasks, writing content, scheduling posts, reviewing campaigns. Some days involve meetings with clients or designers. There's also room to bring your own ideas.
Perfect. One last question. Is there any kind of training or support for new employees?
Yes, absolutely. We have a 2-week onboarding program where you meet the team, learn the tools, and start small tasks. You'll also have a mentor to guide you during the first few months.
That's very helpful to know. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here today.
It was a pleasure meeting you today, Emily. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. I really enjoyed our conversation.
We'll be reviewing all candidates this week, and we'll get back to you soon.
Sounds great. I'll look forward to hearing from you. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Take care.
Well, that was a really interesting interview. Emily handled every question with such confidence and professionalism. You can tell she's put a lot of thought into her responses.
Absolutely, Max. I especially liked how she explained her strengths and weaknesses, and how she handled that question about failure. It's important to be honest about our mistakes, but also to show how we learn and grow from them.
Exactly. And I think the way she talked about balancing independent work with teamwork was spot on. It's all about being flexible and knowing when to ask for help or take the lead.
Yes, I agree. Emily also had great questions for the interviewer, which shows that she's genuinely interested in the role and the company. It's always good to be prepared with questions of your own.
Definitely. So, if you're preparing for an interview, remember to be confident, stay calm under pressure, and always show your willingness to learn and grow. And of course, don't forget to ask questions.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Max and Mia podcast. We hope you found it helpful and insightful. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
And if you have any questions or feedback, feel free to reach out to us. We'll see you next time with more tips and discussions.
See you next time.
See you.